Hello my friends, I'm happy that you're here. Let's take the next few minutes and build ourselves a long-range gas gun. What we're going to use is a variant of this, which is the first generation LMT MWS, which stands for Modular Weapon System. This one's in 308, and I have it configured with the 18-inch stainless steel barrel. This is a great gun, and I've made hits with it out to 900, but I want to begin with a precursor project, and that project's going to be loading 6.5 Creedmoor for a gas gun specifically, and for that I'm going to be using something else. Still LMT, like always. I'm a big fanboy. So put this away. And let's see what we're going to be using for this build, or assembly if you want to call it that. We're not building anything, we're just putting things together like Legos for men. So what do we have here? We have a LMT MARS-H receiver. This is the DMR configuration with the DMR stock, 2-stage trigger, full ambi controls, and that's going to be our basis for the receiver. For the upper receiver, going with an LMT. This is the LMS, I think, MLOC, or MRPH, MLSP, one of them. I'll put the part numbers in the description. But this is the 13.5 inch monolithic upper receiver, which is going to be the host for our barrel. The barrel is the LMT 20-inch 6.5 Creedmoor stainless steel barrel cartridge. That's going to slot into our upper receiver. This comes with a, let's see, certified 1.17 MOA test firing group. Not too happy about that. I'm really hoping for this barrel to be sub MOA. That is then going to go inside our monolithic receiver. Then we've got a bolt carrier that's needed to make the whole thing work. These seem to actually be finally available from LMT. They have been unobtainium for several years now, as LMT has been trying to fulfill their Estonia contracts. So Estonia contracts has a 5.56 piston upper and lower receiver, full rifle set, but they also have a few of the 308 7.62x51 rifle kits as well. So for the longest time, and during COVID and all that stuff since 2019, it has been impossible to get these parts. So over the last, let's say, 3 years, I think I've been trying to build this thing. Finally, parts started arriving, and being fulfilled. So I'm going to shout out to V1 Tactical. They have a lot of LMT parts available. Some of these, which are more available now, but they weren't some time ago, such as these upper receivers and lower receiver sets, which I'm very happy to see finally. So to top everything off, we'll be using an existing optic. This is the one that was on the 308, and this is just a Vortex Razor Gen 2 3-18 by 56 in a spur mount. A few more accessories. Muzzle brake. This is a Surefire muzzle brake for 6.8, so it's close enough to the 6.5. It's not too overbore. I've got some Black River Tactical gas tubes, which I may end up retrofitting on the rifle, since I'll be mainly shooting this suppressed. So I've got a 50-50 gas tube, which means 50% of the time suppressed, 50% of the time unsuppressed, and the other one is a 100% suppressed gas tube. So essentially what I've got here is a 86 thousandths for the 50-50 is the gas port size, and 76 thousandths for the always suppressed gas tube. I think my initial 0 and first shots are going to use the existing LMT gas tube that's equipped, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be overgassed like all LMT products. They do that for function and for reliability, so I'm not going to fault them on that. I know my 308 has been overgassed, and it also has a BRT 50-50 gas tube installed. The buffer system that comes in this is an H3, so I'm going to leave that alone. I think that's sufficient. And yeah, so let's take a look at some of these parts. I guess the heart of the system, the bolt carrier group. This is the LMT double ejector, chrome plated. This is the semi-auto carrier. The new ones are full chrome plated, even the bolt, whereas my 308, the bolt is chrome plated and the carrier is chrome plated, and the bolt itself is a nickel plate bolt. So, nothing new there. These are very high quality. They have the scalloped recesses for using, loading the rifle with the bolt forward in a full magazine. It's not going to crush your rounds. That's cool. I think that was the last thing to actually ever come in, was this bolt and bolt carrier group. They have been really hard to find, but I think they're available now. Magazines are going to be a number of mags. I've got an old KAC Knights Armament genuine magazine, which is 20 rounder with the old white follower. These are unobtainium as well. As an alternate, I'm going to try these LaRue Tactical SR25 magazines, which look identical to the CAC, except for the follower. So, and the base plate. but everything else appears identical. So they should work really well. All else fails, I can always use one of any number of my Lancer L7 AWM magazines, which have been flawless. And with that, let's begin our SR25 pattern assembly. So, nothing to do on the lower receiver. This is fully assembled. Let me just go over some of the controls. You have the fully ambi magazine release. This is SR25 basically. This side is exactly like an SR25. This side has the MARS control group, which is basically mirrors the other side as far as the bolt catch and bolt release. They are both standard mag release, and of course the ambi safety. The trigger is a 2-stage LMT. Don't expect too much out of it, but I will leave that trigger group in. I have an SSAE X from Geisley that I could potentially put in there. And oh yeah, I almost forgot. So I have the ambidextrous LMT charging handle, which is nicely serrated on the back, I guess, to give you a little bit of purchase and leverage. And it has some gas busting features, sort of like the PRI gas buster charging handles. So, as you can tell, LMT fanboy. Don't think that'll ever change. Of course, I would love a CAC, but I missed that bandwagon by at least 10 years. And I don't think I will ever be able to get one. But this is a pretty good second choice alternative. So yeah, let's get this barrel installed. And there's nothing to it. This monolithic system is a quick change barrel system, which is just a second, I'm trying to find my tools. I may have to pause everything and go get my wrench. So this is a quick change barrel system. Essentially, the barrel just goes into the upper receiver. Probably need to loosen this one a bit more. I need to remove the front bolt completely. There we go. So the barrel just slots in, and these bolts are then tightened to 140 inch-pounds, and I will use my LMT torque limiter for that. But before I put the barrel in, I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize on the extension. And for that, I will use this Loctite LB8060. And it's just a silver-based anti-seize. I have copper as well, but that's quite toxic. So is this one, but let's put a little bit there. And I'll use this to just kind of spread it around a little bit. Doesn't take much. And I don't want to cake it on either. But this is just in case the receiver extension decides to rust or corrode inside the aluminum clamp. So if you've got steel and aluminum, you may have some galvanic corrosion that can happen. And so that's basically as much anti-seize as I'm going to use. I'll do this vertically and just slip the barrel in. So while I do this, so there you go. You have the barrel installed. And I'll just hand tighten these bolts for now. I'll torque it here in a little bit. Before I torque it, I'm gonna insert the bolt and carrier. Lock them in. And now I'm gonna torque the barrel with the bolt carrier in battery. So let me find the torque limiter here. I want to do it vertically, so we have gravity assisting us. Let's see here. Okay, there's one. Just a second. That's it. I'm not going to do it again. I'll do it off camera to confirm. So there we go. Upper receiver is complete. I'm just going to clip it into the lower. These pins are quite tight. I'm not going to put them in all the way. Not yet. So, there we go. This is what it looks like. Long boy. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install the muzzle device. It comes standard with a A2 style flash hider, which is all fine and dandy, but I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to be using my Surefire SOCOM 762RC suppressor, and that takes a different muzzle device. So I'm going to put the upper receiver aside, and I'm going to use a reaction rod in my vise here to remove and install the muzzle device. So I've got this vise block. This one's made by Wheeler. That gives me the option of AR-10, which is what this is, and AR-15 mounting or work holding. So I can put it on the vise, in the vise. Tighten that down. I don't know if it's visible here on the camera. Not quite. So I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll be using this Geisley reaction rod for large frame gas guns. This is pretty much essential for working on muzzle devices. But essentially you've got a steel mandrel that will fit into the recoil lugs, into the locking lugs of your barrel. And it eases the stress on the barrel itself and the whole upper receiver section. When you're trying to torque on the muzzle end of the barrel. So now that this is secure, I am gonna spin off the A2, which should be pretty simple. Let's see, it's counterclockwise. And that came off real easy because it uses a crush washer. So there you go. That's removed. I'll save this for whenever I change barrels out next time. Now I'm going to use some alcohol and clean off the grease from the threads. So I am not going to use any rock set or Loctite because I'm going to use proper torque to install the muzzle device. And in order to time it correctly, if the port's timed, you're going to want to use shims. And the shims come with these muzzle devices. This is quite old. I've had these for quite a while. But Surefire is what I use for most of my silencers. And that's what I'm going to be installing. So the way you do this is you find a position that's about 15 degrees off of, like, top dead center, right? If you want to look at it that way. Then you can use your armor wrench. Spin it on. And if we're lucky, we'll get perfect timing, but we won't. We're about 90 degrees out from correct timing. So now comes the musical washers game. So what I'm going to want is first of all, I'm going to use the thick washer that comes with it, that gives you a proper seat against the shoulder. It's not this one. So I've got a thick ring here that has a taper. That taper could go here against the shoulder of the barrel. And I hope you don't see my pit stains. I'm sweating like a pig here. All these studio lights are quite warm. So yeah, I'm 180 degrees off of time. I'll bring this down a little bit so I can work on it. So this is the indexing notch that needs to be on the bottom. So this is how I need to be after I torque it. So I'm going to use some feeler gauges to sorry about that. Oh, this is a thread gauge. I have feeler gauges here. Give me an idea which shims to use. So here we go. So this is where I want to be. That means I have a gap here in between the barrel and the muzzle device. So I'll use a feeler gauge to get me close to where I want to be. Looks like we've got quite a bit up. Almost. This one is 20 thousandths. So let's see if 25, I have 30 thou. No, 30 thou is too big, so I think 20 thousandths will be fine. Let's try 28. 28. No, 28 is too much. 20 is too little. Let's try 23. So 23. Looks like 23 is going to work out. 23, 25. So now I'll find some shims that are 25 thousandths. This is 20. 22. It's almost. 13. 12. 10. So it looks like I need a 2 thou. This is 3 thousandths. Let's try a 3 thousandths and a 21 together, like this. It's the game of musical shims. But it looks like I'm going to be good here. So now I'll take this and no, that's not enough. All right, so looks like I do need 25 thousandths for my spacing. Where my 25 thou is. Let's see, 13. 13 and 12. How about we do a 13 and 12? That gives us 25. This should do it. Or like it looks at like about 15 degrees. And you can see I can actually torque the muzzle brake on without worrying about twisting the upper receiver on the vise, because it's being held on the barrel extension. So there you go. That is about as tight as I need it to be. And that's about 35 to 40 foot-pounds. Maybe it could use a little bit more, but the suppressors are quick detach, and you don't have to twist them off or anything. You just stick it on, index it, and turn a locking collar. So there's no unscrewing motion happening. So that went a lot smoother than I expected. Normally I'm faffing about with it for an hour and until I get the right shim combination. So that's good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the optic. But that's easy because it's already on a mount. I don't need to level or do any of that because that's already been done. So let's take a look at the inside of this upper receiver. All right, so this stopped recording. Stand by. All right. So the inside of this upper receiver is coated in thin film coating. I think this is something like Cerakote. Yeah, Cerakote thin film. It's the same stuff as the back of the receiver extensions that LMT puts. That'll wear off in the first 30-40 rounds, so no big deal. We're torqued. We're all good to go. Let's see what this staining is on the barrel. Okay. So I am done. Let's put this away. Let's get the upper receiver back in the vise. Where is my block? Stand by while I find my vise block. I just had it here. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I've got these vise blocks that I put in the vise to hold my receivers while I work on them. So this one here, oh, that's tight. Better tight than loose. I'll do the lubrication on this later. I know YouTube is probably going to delete my videos because I'm showing people how to build a scary assault weapon. But who gives a shit? I'm not monetized, and I never will be. So the way you can support me is by subscribing and turning on the bell notification, because that tells the algorithm to come look at my videos. So I'll work on my eye relief later, but this is my usual eye relief that I have on AR-10s. So if I need to, I can always adjust the stock. This will move backwards. And you also have a fine adjustment on this stock, which I really like. This is probably one of the best DMR style stocks you can get. And yeah, I mean, that was super simple, courtesy of LMT's quick change barrel system and monolithic uppers. So this is the end result. I'd like for you to tell me in the comments whether you want me to Cerakote this some other color than black. I don't know if I want to do that this time around. I may leave it black, but this one here is Cerakoted in Cobalt Kinetics green, which is their custom color mix that I have. Actually got quite a few things coated in that color. It's like olive drab with a pearlescent flake. And it's really cool. Here in Texas, everything is green, so it really matches as far as camouflage type of thing. Yeah, stay tuned. This is going to be the precursor to a whole long-range reloading series for this rifle, and I'll channel Johnny's reloading bench and maybe do it in the style that he does. He did recently a series on something similar for his semi-auto 6.5 Creedmoor. So we'll see how this goes. I've got potential gassing issues to take care of. That's what these tubes are for. I'll be shooting it mostly suppressed, which, let me get it. So yeah, I've got my 7.62 RC. This is what's going to go on. Just like that. So, heavy boy. I think it's going to be a shooter. I think I'll be happy if I get MOA out of it. But I'm certainly going to strive for half MOA if I could. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, thanks for watching. That's it for today. Next time is going to be load development on this thing. Maybe we'll see how it shoots with factory ammo first, get a baseline after I've zeroed and gotten it running. So yeah, thanks for watching. Stay accurate. We'll see you soon. Bye.